Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello? You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. All right, everybody. Everybody. TikTok, can y'all see? Can y'all hear? Can you see? Can you hear? Can you let me know if you can see or if you can hear, please? Just put in the comments whether you can see or you can hear. Because I'm trying to do TikTok live on my computer, but I can put my phone up if you can't. I need to see. All right, everybody. Um, just letting y'all know that
When you find out you didn't mean as much to someone as
we are doing part 2 in breaking the silence. If you're not aware of what we've been doing, we're doing part 2 in breaking the silence. Let me see if I can add them to the stage. Let's see. Can they see? Hopefully y'all can see. Video and video. I don't want that. It's really playing picture in picture mode. Okay, we'll take it out in picture mode. All right, everybody. I hope y'all can see as relate to this video. I got y'all in the stream. I don't know if y'all can see or not, but I'm finna get my iPad right quick to see from that other location. All right, for those who was on Sunday, we started what we titled this as Breaking the Silence Part 1. And now we are about to embark on Part 2. We're about to embark on Part 2 for Breaking the Silence. All right. I'm trying to get in this right quick. There's always something. Yesterday, we had to postpone the conversation because Dana had something to take care of. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to talk about it a little bit. We have a young lady.
You're sounding staticky.
I'm sounding static.
if you don't speak.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Do I sound better now?
You still sounding staticky.
I'm still sounding static.
I mean, I need to know whether it's my end or yours. So I guess ask someone else.
Okay, but I come in clear. I come in real clear. I
You
don't
coming out
know.
clear?
Yes, I come in clear. You come out clear.
Okay, well, I don't know why. So you're saying I'm coming out clear?
Yeah, I hear you very clear.
Okay, but you're staticky on my end.
Okay, maybe it is. Let me see that video. Okay. I don't know what it is then, Dana. Because I don't have no static. Maybe it's because I got it on you hearing the TikTok. That's what that is. So I just cut down um the speaker on it. Is it better?
Okay, I turn my speaker down and it's
I'm trying to get everybody to see. I don't know if they can see. I know they maybe can hear,
I don't see
but
anything but me
it's
and
not
you. Okay.
on TikTok. Yeah. All right. So listen, y'all. Uh, I hear the echo from TikTok, and it keeps trying. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go live on my phone so y'all can hear from there because this is not working. It keeps cutting off and cutting back on. All right, so I'm gonna end this live on TikTok and I'm going live on my phone. All right, so hold on. I'm gonna have to do this live on my phone. That's not working. Yeah, I'm gonna end the other live. That ain't working. That's getting on my nerves. All right, so listen, y'all. Wow. So we're back doing part 2. So cut off. There is something on here close. All right.
Okay.
There is another sound on here, but I don't know what it is. Oh, I forgot you at the what you call it. So I'm crazy. I'm cuckoo, but I ain't gonna worry about it. It is what it is. All right. So listen. Can I post to some destination? All right, cool. So everybody, hopefully we're in this live stream. I swapped over to my phone because it's not working on the TikTok live studio app. I don't know what the problem is, and I'm not going to worry about it. But listen, for those who may view it now and for those who may view this later, we started this conversation called Breaking the Silence, Her Story, right? And as we know, we live in a country that these type of behaviors are becoming more and more prominent with domestic violence. It's a conversation that we don't talk about a lot, but it's a conversation that needs to be talked about and it needs to be addressed. It don't just happen to older women. It happened to teenage girls. It happened to older men. It happened to teenage boys. Women can be just as abusive as men can be. And so we started this dialogue to try to make a difference and for Dana to tell her story. Yesterday, we postponed the event because something that was more important to take care of on yesterday is the reason why we postponed the event. There is another young lady, and maybe one day she'll come forth and tell her story. But right now, what I want everybody to do is pray for her, okay? She's a young lady who had a lot of hardship in life. She did not have a mother in her corner. Her siblings are not very supportive. And she ran across a man who was very abusive, right? And so she became addicted to drugs. And so yesterday, she decided to turn herself into a rehab facility to get the help that she needed, which I am very grateful for. And I want to say this as well. For those who have people who are addicted in their family, you cannot enable these individuals because you don't do them any good when you enable their habits, right? I know it's hard. I know you don't want to see, you want to show tough love towards your loved ones, but you don't help them when you enable them in their actions, right? And like I told Dana yesterday, when she said, Miss Renee, you just so mean. It's not about being mean to the individual, but it's about letting them know they need to make a choice. And it's not forcing them. It still has to be a conscious choice of what they're making when it comes down to their life, right? And so, in that conversation yesterday, Dana did do exactly like I said, and her friend ended up turning herself in yesterday to a facility so she can detox. So I'm just saying, I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna get back to the heart of the conversation. For anybody that's struggling with drug addiction that you know of, please, 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 please do not be an enabler. Do not give them money. If you can feed them, but do not enable them. Do not be nasty or mean or cruel to them, but you need to be stern in your conversation and letting them know that you'll be there for them to help them. But what you're not going to do is enable them in their activities. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so because of the conversation on yesterday, a young lady was able to go in detox. And let me also say that before we get in the conversation, don't act like we don't make mistakes, because we do. The only difference between an alcoholic and a drug addict mistake is you can see theirs. But we have sexual addictions, we have lying addictions, we have cheating addiction, we have whoring around addictions, we have manipulation addiction, we have deceiving addictions, we have all kind of addictions. We have shopping addictions. So we always want to highlight somebody else's addictions of what you can see, but we never want to pay attention to the addictions that we have that people cannot see. And so let's be conscious of that. You know, we are not in a position to judge anybody, right? But we are in a position to show compassion and empathy for individuals and to be a help to somebody. And it may not be your family today, and it may be your family tomorrow. And I hope that these conversations that we are having will resonate and make a world of difference in your life. So we're going to get started with this conversation. And we left off with Dana telling us about the incident where her spouse got upset and ran her head through the wall, which resulted in her having brain trauma. So, Dana,
Yes.
take it away.
Um, as I left off on Sunday, um, and an incident happened that occurred between us because at that time I was um, into prostitution, and I did not make the money that he thought that I should have made. So when I got home, the incident between us was not good, and as a result, um, he picked me up by my head and slammed my head into our closet wall, which my head went through the wall. It broke the sheetrock. Um, that's how hard the impact of the slam was. Um, and as a result of that, I now suffer from TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury, which resulted in me having uncontrollable seizures. Um, but that wasn't enough. I did not leave him at that time. Things got a little bit better with us because he was now making money all over again. And because he had told me to go out, take a friend with me, but to go out and to any house that I fell in love with was mine. Oh, and I did. We moved into what I want to say was my dream house. And once again, I now had hope for my marriage. Little later, we began to have problems because now he wanted a family. And I had trouble getting pregnant.
Let me ask you a question before you move on. Let me ask you this question before you move on.
Okay.
Uh, hold on. I got a call coming in. Hold. Okay, if y'all hear background noises, Dana is at the hospital. One of her family members is at the hospital. All right. So let me ask you a question. So
Okay.
after the wall incident, right?
Hmm.
After the prostitution, after multiple abuses, after sitting on the couch and being backhanded, what was your thought process thinking that when he mentioned about giving you a house? I mean, why did you get excited about the house?
Because one, I felt like that was hope for my marriage. And I wanted to believe that he really did love me because I cannot see or could not see a person willing to do all of this for you and they not care. They not love you. I still felt like it was something I wasn't doing right. I was still trying to be who he needed me to be. I didn't know who that was, but anything he told me to do, I did because I was trying to be who he needed me to be. I felt like he loved me, but I wasn't. I felt like I wasn't the woman he needed me to be. So when things were going right between us, when he promised me the house, it wasn't like any other time. I mean, he made me feel like, and I know you said that these things are materialistic, but it made me feel special. It made me feel wanted. So
Yeah, but
I felt like there was hope still for my marriage.
okay, but how see here is what I want everybody to understand, and this is why we're having these dialogues. So materialistic things, but it didn't take away the actions of the things that he had done, right?
It didn't take away the action, but okay, let's just say you are having the worst experience of your
Hey,
life
Michelle.
and then something good happens. That's a glimpse of hope.
Okay.
That it's gonna be hope for us. It's finally gonna be hope for us, or there really is hope for us, even in all of this, there is still hope for us. He still is in love with me. He still wants to make me happy. There is,
Hmm.
hope after all.
Okay. So let's backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
So when he did what he did as relate to the wall, did he take you to the doctor?
No.
And why did he
I,
not take you to the doctor when he saw the results of the wall?
well, I don't know why he didn't take me to the doctor, but I don't think he thought it was bad enough, or maybe he was afraid.
Did he apologize?
No,
So
no.
he
When I
go
came
ahead.
through, because I was busy. When I came through, he was expecting for me to be normal with a headache and all. He still, wanted me to. We all grown. He still wanted me to have sex with him.
Okay. So he did not apologize. And
Mm.
he saw the results of the wall and still wanted to proceed forward. After he saw the wall was broken, after he knew you was dizzy, after you blacked out for a minute, right?
Yes.
So, and he never said he was sorry at all.
No, man.
Okay. So, did anything happen in between that before he told you to go look for a house?
Um, yes, I mean I'm not gonna lie, we did have fights. We still did. We had our ups and downs still. The disrespect, the because I wasn't no longer um prostic was not no longer selling my body.
Mm-hmm.
Because he, had began to do other things to make money, and he was better at what he did than I was better at what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna be honest. Before I went to look for the house, like I said, the abuse was still there, and then um, the cheating increased. But then we had started bringing other people into our bedroom.
Mm-hmm. So you mean an extra person?
Yes,
And that was at his request, not yours.
that was at his request. He would go
Did,
out to strip clubs and different places, meeting these people.
did he ask you what you thought about this, or he just took it upon himself to force that kind of action upon you? He didn't care what you felt or how you felt about it, if it was okay. He never asked you your opinion about none of that. He just brought other women in your house.
He never asked my opinion, and I felt that
Hey,
my
Queen
opinion
Bee.
didn't matter.
But you was his wife.
But I knew by then, I'm just going to be honest, I knew not to question him. So I didn't think that my opinion mattered.
Okay, so he started bringing women into the household. Was there rules when he brought women into the household?
No, his thing was to them, once you cross this threshold, anything goes. And to me, I already knew, what he expected of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I did what he expected of me.
And was there women who were shocked at what his request was when they got across that door?
Yes. But like he told them once, we got comfortable, that he warned them once anything goes once you cross this threshold.
So when you say anything goes, Dana, and I want you to be comfortable in answering this, what did he mean by anything goes for him to the third person? Not with you, but with them. What did he mean by anything goes? What would he do to that third person that would anything goes?
Of course, her and I being together, but with him and her, um,
Mhm.
he meant anal sex.
Okay, and when he did the anal sex, they was not aware. He just did it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was the devastating part for them because they had no idea what he meant until he actually did it.
Right.
So was there a lot of women who cried or yelled or screamed?
Yes, but like he said, he warned them before they crossed over the threshold. Anything goes, and I wasn't in a position to help nobody.
Hmm.
Um, I just laid there.
and he never said nothing. Never.
No. I
And how often would he bring women into the household?
every weekend. Every
Every weekend.
weekend. Every weekend, every Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday, and sometimes during the week. But mainly it was on the weekend, but it was every weekend.
Hmm.
Him and his friends would go to the strip club and he would bring a woman home.
And that right there is like playing Russian roulette. You understand what I'm saying? That's playing Russian roulette. Um, you don't know what these people got. And to me, it didn't seem like he really cared. And so you still felt like he loved you, right? You still felt like he loves you.
Yes.
So between all of this and about time you got the house, so you found the house and what happened? He bought it?
Yes, he bought it. He bought the house. I furnished the house the way I wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
But then he started staying at the house less and less.
So
And
where
it
was
was
he at?
sometime he was working because he, you know, um, he worked,
Mm-hmm.
with yes.
Okay.
And sometime he was with other women.
Okay.
And things between us was not good because again, he started back feeling like I wasn't performing enough. I still wasn't good enough. I cannot, will not go into the words that he said.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do this tonight.
Right.
Um, but he still felt like I wasn't good enough
Mm-hmm.
because at this time he wanted to have a baby and I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Okay, y'all. While we wait on Dana to come back, I hope this conversation is resonating with somebody to make a world of difference if you're in this situation. I'm just pleading with you to find the strength and the courage to get out of it before it's too late. A lot of women have been in this situation, even some men, and they didn't survive it. So um, we need to be aware. You also need to check with your young girls who's going to high school and dealing with younger men, because what's happening here is a domino effect. It's something that is seen. It is something that is learned behavior. Sometimes it's anger. It's a lot of reasons why people are abusive. Um, but the worst thing of all is for me, from listening to all these conversations, I believe is verbal abuse. And when Dana come back, I'm gonna ask her which one she feel is the worst. Is it physical or verbal? And I'm going to tell you why I think verbal abuse is more difficult than physical, because physical, you can heal. The scars and the coloration will return, right? But the words, when they say sticks and stone may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, that ain't true. Because words penetrate deep within. So they do cut deep and they resonate for a long time. They are very triggering for some people. This is how people end up with lack of confidence and lack of self-esteem. They're very penetrating. And so when Dana comes back, we're going to ask her, what does she feel like is the worst, verbal abuse or physical abuse? But at the same time, for a man to say that they love you, they say they love you. Love does not allow them to hurt you, right? Love is not demeaning. Love is not degrading. Love is not physically abusive. None of that stuff. It's just not. Dana,
I'm back.
okay, I got a question that I just posed to everybody else. And
Okay.
we're gonna go on after you ask me answer this question. So I want you to let me know which one is worse, physical or verbal abuse, and why.
I'm gonna say verbal because I love both. And a lot of people don't agree with me. I mean, because I've said this before, since I've been out of the situation. It's verbal because bruises heal. But I've been gone now for over a year, and those words still stick with me. I still do not feel comfortable looking at myself in the mirror. Ooh. Words stick longer than someone actually putting their hands on.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, I started to feel like that person.
Mm-hmm.
And regardless of still now what I try to, do, like, makeup and different ways of doing my hair and different things like that,
Mm-hmm.
pretty, I still don't feel, good about myself.
Right.
And I have been away now for over a year and I still feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yes, verbal to me.
Okay. I know it's rough. I know it's rough, and it's not a easy task to talk about something that's so detrimental and so heavy and so hard because that's something that you had to live through, right? And nobody
Yes.
never understands the shoes that you walked in except for you. But prayerfully, this is my prayer, this is your prayer, that we can help somebody with this conversation to change their minds and to help them to walk away from whatever it is they're sitting in. Because what we don't want is somebody to unalive themselves when they had every opportunity to escape. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And there were times that I thought about it, but I'm glad I didn't. There were times that I thought about it, but I'm glad I did not.
Hmm. So I know that he's done a lot of things in his life. So when did you feel that you lost your voice, your confidence, and your self-esteem?
Oh God. I felt it leaving within the first year of me marrying him.
Mm-hmm.
I felt it gone um, completely by the third year.
Okay.
But I felt it leaving. Like I knew that it was certain things I couldn't say. I, I didn't have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm thinking back on it. The first year of our marriage, I lost my voice. And I say that because there were so many things that I was scared to say.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that he said, I went along with, and knowing they were, wrong, knowing it wasn't right, I couldn't say anything. So I would say within the first year, I started to lose it, and then gradually I knew the second year, the third year, I didn't have a voice. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Anything he said, anything he did, I went along with it.
So when he got you the car, was there rules and guidelines into driving a car?
It wasn't until my grandmother got sick.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first got the car, which, my grandmother got sick, like, oh God, I don't think I had the car 6 months when she got sick. But of course, when I first got the car, he knew every place that I went. Um, he had
A tracker.
yes, I always have to have my location on when we were together. That's the only reason why I even had the iPhone, was he had to know my location. Um, he took the phone after my grandmother passed, and after he took my keys out, like he said, he was stepping me down back to an Android. I wasn't an iPhone type of woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went back to the Android. But yes, there was stipulations on the car once my grandmother got sick. Um, he felt like I was gonna leave. I was gonna, that was my way of getting out.
Mm-hmm.
And so he took the keys that day. And whenever I wanted to drive a car or go anywhere, had any appointments or anything, someone, that he knew, I had to go with me.
Mm.
And when
But
he came home, I had to give him back the car keys.
but you can put the same stipulations on him.
No,
So what is his father like?
worse than him.
Was he married?
Yes, he was married.
So he treated
He
his
still
wife
is
worse?
married. Yes, his wife didn't have a voice. And I know, I mean, the first time I met this man, he told me, his words to me was, I know you don't like me. And guess what? I mean, he had never met me, had never just really had a conversation with me. He said, he said, I know you don't like me. And guess what? I don't like your ass either. I never said I didn't like him. I really didn't know him. But that was his
Right.
attitude.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And was his wife very quiet and subtle and sitting off in a corner?
Well, she wasn't sitting up in a corner, but she knew when. I'm gonna be very honest. She knew when to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and I say that because I'm picturing me. Now she did talk, but it wasn't like in a like when a person is wrong and the things they're saying is wrong, you tell them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She didn't do that.
So was he very demeaning to her in the open in front of everybody and not care?
Yes.
How did he treat his son? How did he treat your husband?
Oh my God. To be honest, like shit. I'm gonna be honest. It was we was at in one incident I would never forget. We was at their house for his birthday, for the dad's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what caused the incident. I don't think it was nothing. I really don't, because I was sitting at the table and I'm looking at everything that's going on. And he had a house full of people. I mean, his friends, my my husband's friends. It was a party for him. And he began to disrespect my husband like he was a dog. And I was upset with my husband at that time But the way his dad was talking to him, it was like whatever I was mad about, I totally forgot because that's how much my heart bled for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was, I'm sitting there with at the party, and he got me. Well, not him, his stepmother had me distracted. Like she wanted to play cards with me, and the whole time my husband is interacting with her friend.
A
So,
female friend?
mhm.
Oh.
So I was upset with him, and I was ready to go at that when I realized what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, after this incident with his dad, my heart really went out to him because his dad talked to him like, I mean, he was the scum at the bottom of his shoe for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
He told him how worthless he was. He was a piece of shit. It was just like so much stuff, this hurtful stuff that this man said to his son with a house full of people there.
Mm-hmm. And so when
But
y'all left, what happened on the way home? You told him how, you was apologizing for how his dad spoke to him.
he backslapped me and told me to mind my business.
So his dad demeaned him,
But he
and you
backslapped
was,
me and
yeah,
told me to
and you
mind
was,
my business.
mm,
And then in the midst of that, the woman that he was talking to called the phone.
while you was in the car,
Hmm.
did he answer
He answered and talked to her all the way home.
with you sitting in the car?
Yes. And he dropped me off and he left.
I'm good, Belinda. How are you? And he left to go see her?
Yes.
Oh my God. And you're not supposed to say nothing, right?
I didn't say nothing.
So in that time, did you ever think about walking away?
No.
Why not?
I really don't know. I
With
still
all
love
the
him.
disrespect, with
I,
all that you still love them.
I still love him. And my life at that moment was comfortable. I
Because
didn't have to cook. I didn't have to clean. I didn't have to do anything.
uh-huh.
So my life at that moment, I'm gonna be honest, was comfortable.
Yeah, we're talking about breaking the silence. Your life was comfortable, but it came at a cost though.
It did. But at that time I wasn't looking at the cost that it brought me.
Hmm. And why did you think about looking at the cost?
Because I had everything I wanted. I lived the life that I know that most in my mind that most women dreamed of. That's what I thought.
Yeah, but living a life of comfortability is cool, but it does not come with physical abuse. You understand what I'm saying? That is just like
But
that's not uh-huh.
at that time I didn't see that.
Right.
And at that time, I'm gonna be very honest. Not only was it comfortable, it's like I saw no way out.
You saw no way out.
No,
Did he threaten you if you decide to walk away?
the only thing that he ever said to me is that if I left, he was gonna make my life live in hell.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, nobody would want me.
Mm-hmm.
In his mind, I was lucky to have him.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Wow. So he thought you was he was the pick of the crop, huh?
Yes.
Wow. So there was one incident with the stove. When was that? Between
I'm
the new
sorry,
house and you already had been in the house?
ma'am.
The
I'm
incident
sorry.
with the incident with the stove, were you already in the house in your hand, or that was in a new house?
The incident with
The stove.
it was the new house.
And what was his trigger for doing that? Okay, yeah, I want y'all to be patient. Dana's in the hospital. She's got a relative that's at the hospital. And she didn't want to cancel, so we decided to just, work our way through while she's at the hospital because we postponed yesterday. Uh, there's been a lot of stuff going on in these last 2 days, but we decided to push on through. But truly, for those who just coming in, we're talking about breaking the silence, her story. So she's telling her story of enduring 9 years of domestic violence. And the conversation is hopefully to make a difference in somebody's life, that they get the courage and the strength to walk away. That is not love. That's not even a strong life to deal with something like that. And so I think, and Dana feels that if she tells her story, it'll make a world of difference in somebody else's life that they won't, subject to themselves to those type of behavior. But again, I'm gonna say this to fathers: start affirming your daughters at home. Take your daughters to dinner, buy them all the finer things that they need, so that way they won't have to fall for the okey doke when somebody come along and dangle some diamonds or a nice dinner or a nice purse in front of their nose. Then they can say, my daddy did this. What you got to do better than that? And so that's what we have to really look at, and try to save our young ladies. And their mothers, you need to step and validate your daughters while they're at home, to them while they are at home. Don't wait for nobody else to let them know how amazing, how strong, how confident, how much of self-esteem they have, morals and value. You do that now. You do that now. So they won't have to fall into stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So go ahead, Dana.
Okay. You said what was the cause of the stove incident?
Yeah. Belinda said, thank you, Dana, for your story to help others. That's what it's all about.
You're welcome, because it's hard.
So what was the stove incident about? What was the anger about for the stove that he did what he did? Just breathe through it.
A lot of things happened when we moved. Was because of, like I said, um, he wanted a family, and I could give him one.
Mm-hmm. But he knew that took two, right? It ain't just on you. It takes two people to make the baby, not just you by yourself.
But we made the baby.
Okay. So what happened with that?
She wasn't the sex that he wanted.
Huh?
He was. She wasn't the sex that he wanted.
Okay, but who makes the choice on the sex? Nobody makes the choice on the sex. So at first, when he
But
found
he
out you
didn't
was,
get that memo.
huh?
He didn't get that memo.
But at first, when he found out you was pregnant, how did he treat you?
I did nothing. He treated me very good.
Uh-huh.
And and these are the things that I want people to see. You know, your whole marriage is not all bad.
Mm-hmm.
And in they mind,
Right.
the good should outweigh the bad.
It should.
But
Hey, Missy.
once again, he spoiled, I'm thinking he spoiled me, he loved me, he was I did nothing. I didn't cook, which I couldn't cook his ass no way. And that was one of the reasons of the stove incident was because I couldn't cook.
Uh-huh.
But I tell the truth, being tortured, you learn how to do things you didn't think you would do.
Right.
Um, but and a lot of this is I'm gonna be very honest, is painful
Mm-hmm.
to sit here and
Talk about it. Right.
tell the world that somebody you love did you like this.
Mm-hmm. But you're
But
not the only one.
but the first 4 months, everything was good. I I I lived, I thought, and I know these people think I'm crazy, but I lived like I thought like a queen.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to cook, I didn't have to clean, I didn't have to get out the bed if I didn't want to. He
Okay.
had people waiting on me hand and foot.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was time to go to our sonogram appointment, and he took
Mm-hmm.
out work because he wanted to be the first person to know.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got the first sonogram, the baby wouldn't open her legs, but we didn't know it was a girl.
Right.
And when we got home, he had invited people over, before that happened. We didn't know that
Mm-hmm.
was going to happen. So he had already invited people over saying, we was having it's not funny, but we were having a shebang because he wanted everybody to know he was having a boy.
Mm-hmm.
And he had these cigars and had them, engraved this, how you do the paper
Uh-huh.
on the computer, the tags
Uh-huh.
that says what they want you to say.
Right.
And it was a boy. It's a boy.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get to the doctor, the sonogram is not what we expected because the baby won't open up his legs. So
Mm-hmm.
we had to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get to the house and everything is still going on as normal because we can't counsel. So we tell, I guess, what happened. And unfortunately, one of the women says it's a girl
Uh-huh.
because she had went through the same thing. And a boy, because she has a girl and a boy, and the boy showed everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl normally hides everything.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets, with a house full of people, he gets to cussing me out. We don't even know for sure that what it is. He just goes
Right.
off what this girl says, and he's just so cussing me out and calling me worthless and fat. I'm not gonna. I can't go to toilet. I can't. I can't do that tonight. But the words he was saying was the greatest because this woman had said it's a girl. So that night when we go to the bed, and even he said it twice, while we still had guests in the house, she better get ready to do it again because we're not gonna stop until we have a boy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So y'all go to the second sonogram, and then what happens?
It's confirmed that it's a girl.
And what did he say? Was he nasty?
Yes.
So you want me to say it instead of you? To take the pressure off of it?
No.
Okay. What was the gist of the conversation?
He told me that I can't even have a baby right.
Mm-hmm.
And that mm, you can do this.
You can do this. You got it. You got it.
Mm, that she was gonna be fat and slouchy like me.
Mm. So did he put his hands on you that day?
He did.
And where did he hit you at?
In my face, in my stomach,
While you carrying his child?
and he said, with so many people in the house, that if I hadn't saw for myself, so this bitch so fat, I wouldn't even know she was pregnant.
That's ridiculous. And what did his stupid friends, well, I'm not going to call him, let me be careful. What did the friends have to say when he said that?
Some laughed, some said nothing.
So they thought that was funny, and they went along with his demeaning conversation towards you, and they thought that was okay?
I need 60 seconds. Hold on.
Okay. Go ahead, take 60 seconds. I'm going to mute you for a second. Okay. Y'all, listen to me. I know this is hard for Dana. I get it. She wants to do this because healing, you have to unpack some things. And sometimes when you're in a healing process, you got to dig deep down in the treasures of your past to heal and to feel better, right? It does not mean that we're judging her. It does not mean we're condemning her. It does not mean that we're making her feel less than. But I want her to be free. I want her to be totally free and not be in bondage and not have herself in prison by what somebody else has said and what somebody else has done to her. It is so important to free yourself. You got one life to live. And if you live your life continually in bondage of it ain't her fault. The ignorance is on his part. First of all, you cannot determine what the baby is going to be. You can't. And old folks saying used to be the women make the boys and the men make the girls. So clearly he wasn't doing what he wasn't having his business. So how you gonna blame her when you're not handling your business. Absolutely, we want healing, Missy. We definitely want healing. So how you gonna be mad at her when and that's supposed to be somebody that you love. That's supposed to be your helpmate. That's supposed to be your good thing. And you treating your helpmate and your good thing like that, that is so unbecoming. That is so unbecoming. And I can't even call him a man. I cannot. Can I call him a man? I cannot call him mature. I cannot call him anything. I can't. What I want to call him ain't gonna be nothing nice. And that goes um for any person that is abusive. You understand? That's for any person. Nobody, you don't raise grown folks. Grown folks has already been raised. Hear me when I'm saying. You can't re-raise a grown adult. They already been raised. If the mother and the father didn't do a good job, then they didn't miss the mark. But nobody has the authority or the God-given right to put their hands on nobody at all. The Bible said to chastise the children, spare the rod, spoil the child. But ain't nowhere in that Bible where it tells you to put your hand on another grown adult, to snatch their confidence, to take away their self-esteem. Nowhere in there. And this is where the baiting and the grooming comes into play, right? Because she was young and he knew that. He was 34, she's 16, right? There's a great age gap. And you cannot tell me and that person is not grooming. So you sitting around a schoolyard and you wait for young girls that you pick up the aroma that they don't have confidence, self-esteem, and they don't have no knowledge. And you groom and you bake them. You make them think that you're everything they will ever need and ever want. And then you start buying them all kinds of things to draw them in even further, to think you the best thing like butter or chocolate on sliced bread. And you're not that person. And then once you sucker them into the relationship, and once you get them tied into relationship, you give it a couple more months to solidify that these people are in it. And it goes back to the Tina Turner movie, What Love Got to Do with It, right? That's what it goes back to. The Tina Turner movie, What Love Got to Do with It. And she did everything she could to please him. She did everything she could to please him. And even her mama was in on it. You understand what I'm saying? Even her mother was in on talking about, a man gonna be a man. That's not the right answer, ladies. Don't tell your children a man is gonna be a man and stick with that type of behavior. That's wrong. And then when they unalive your child, now you upset. But you are just as much to blame when you send your daughter back to an abusive person. You are just as much to blame when you send your sons back to an abusive woman. You are just as much to blame. And for the parents who have these abusive kids and they are that way, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. But when Tina Turner got tired, she started swinging back and she told him in the back of that car, you can't do no better than that. That's all you got. Come on. So there comes a point in your life you get fed up. You get fed up. But first of all, we have to start pouring into our young ladies. We got to pour into them. We got to step and validate them at home before they get out in the street. We have to make sure that they are aware how important they are and don't settle for anything less than the first sign of somebody changing. Get your bag, get your purse. If you can't get your bag and purse, leave that stuff there and walk out the door and go on about your business because it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. You okay, Dana?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So go ahead. Y'all send some prayers up for Dana.
So the rest of those 5 months was per him.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody no longer cooked, cleaned. It was all on me. Whether I was tired or not, I still had to have dinner ready when he got home. I became what I felt like was the maid.
Uh-huh. And he didn't care, right?
No.
He didn't care whether you was tired or you need to rest or whatever.
And then, of course, what what was during those first 4 months was, I'm gonna be honest, was, you know, gentle love making, however you want to say it. It
Mm-hmm.
became torture.
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 And you was still pregnant. He didn't care.
No. I me, he never said it, but I felt like he was doing these things now on purpose because I really now wasn't the woman he
You wasn't?
I was, and he didn't miss a day without telling me.
But he never decided to take ownership for what he didn't do, right? For his part.
No,
That's too much like
it
right.
was never it was never him. It was always me. But by the end, the whole picture, the whole truth, the whole everything came out.
So how he felt about you came out?
How he felt about me, how he treated me, how he interacted with me as his wife. All of it came out. It was, I mean, I felt and I knew during those months that he really hated me.
That's a horrible feeling, Dana. That's a horrible feeling for you to love somebody and they treat you that way. That's a horrible feeling.
I knew the love was gone.
Then you got to ask yourself the question, was it really love?
I knew then, like I know now, that it wasn't. But things had got so bad and so horrible because I went through stuff people would not even imagine
Mm-hmm.
in those 5 months that let me know that he really hated me.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of those 5 months, well, in the midst of it, I lost everything that I had for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I started to see myself in the eyes that he saw me in. I didn't even care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can think in your head, when a person is choking you, that you just hope that they just choke your life away,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I felt.
That's not a good place to be, though. That's not a good place to be when you just feel like while they choking you, they could just choke your life away. That's not a good place to be. That means that you're giving up on life. You understand what I'm saying? And he still never felt any remorse for his actions.
No, at that moment, no, he did. I feel at that moment he couldn't stand to look at me.
So did he stay in the house or did he leave you in the house by yourself?
I mean, he came home, but he was not with me until we were having sex.
So you don't know what he was doing after work.
No,
He didn't call and check on you and see if you and the baby was okay or none of that.
no.
So who took you to your doctor's appointments?
I took myself.
He didn't go with you?
No,
Did
I
he
took
ask
myself.
about the appointments?
No, he didn't want nothing. He didn't want nothing else to do with me, the baby. It was just like he hated. I mean, when I say I felt hated, I felt hated. He wanted nothing to do with nothing. Only thing he was waiting for was for me to have a baby. He said it all the time because as soon as I had her, we were going to do it again until we had a boy.
So what he was saying to you, that he wasn't gonna give you a chance to heal after delivery of the baby. He was gonna go right back in and keep having sex until you got pregnant again. Is that what you telling me?
Yes.
So when you went into labor, what happened?
When I went into labor, he was home. I had because he was acting like he didn't want to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
So I had called my mom, and he heard me on the phone with my mom. And this was like 30 minutes of me trying to get him up and him telling me to leave him alone before he fucked me up.
What?
And so I called my mom, and my mom told me she was on her way.
Mm-hmm.
He gets up and he calls my mom, and he tells my mom that he didn't want nobody at the hospital but me and him.
Mm. And what your mom say?
She said, okay.
To hell.
And
But go ahead.
he, she asked, could he call her after I had a baby so she would know that me and the baby was okay. So we get to the hospital, and my contractions are like no pain I had in my life. And they had asked me about getting the epidural,
Mm-hmm.
and he kept saying, no, you're not getting that. No, you're not getting that. And the pain got so bad. When the nurse came back in there to check on me, I asked her for it. And he said, no. I said, she's not getting that. And she said, sir, this has nothing to do with you. And he said, well, I'm her husband. I should be able to make that decision. And she said, no, you don't make a decision on pain medicine. You make a decision on whether the girl tube's tied or not. But this right here has nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
If she wants it, she will get it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said some things to me after, she left, like after they done it, they made the room.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me that, they would come back and check me. And and check on us. But by this time the pain was gone, so they knew that I was relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me when they walked out the room that I was gonna wish I never had it.
What?
He told me when they walked out the room that I was gonna wish I never had it.
Okay, so you got the epidural. He made the stupid comment.
And hours go by, and I finally have my daughter.
Mm-hmm. Did he
And
cut the cord?
no, the doctor did.
Oh, he didn't want to cut the cord
No,
because he wasn't a boy.
he just refused.
Oh.
He wasn't even right there. He was sitting in the. Oh, I mean, you know what a living room looked like. They have a couch. Like
Uh-huh.
he was sitting there. The
Mm-hmm.
nurses was the one that was helping me.
He wasn't holding your hand and tell you it's gonna be okay. None of that. No, not
No,
comforting at all.
no, he was sitting
Oh,
on the
okay.
couch. And of course, the nurses are they all excited because they see the head and they asking him, "Do you here she is? She's almost here." And he said, "Okay, okay." He never got up. So when
Mm.
they got her out and laid her on my stomach, he gets up.
Yeah, she was alone. He gets up.
He gets up,
Mm-hmm.
and the doctor, didn't ask him. He just automatically cut her cord.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom calls, and my mom tells us that she's in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I mean, and she didn't know, but I think she knew because she
Mm-hmm.
says, "How's my baby doing?"
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Oh, she's good. She's here. He's telling her how much." She said, "No, that's your baby. I want to know how my baby doing."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Oh, she fine." And she said, "Well, I'm in the parking lot. I want to come see my baby."
Mm-hmm. And what'd he say?
He said, "Okay."
Put a pause right there. I love your mama. I do. But let me tell you what, I want y'all to understand this. What I ain't never finna do. I ain't asking your permission to come check on my child. That's what I'm not going to do. If I know my child is in the hospital and having a baby, I'm going to show up whether you like it or not. And I want you to say something to me when I get there. I want you to tell me what I can't do and what I'm not going to do. Because I'm going to tell you, I don't give a damn what you say. When it come down to my child, I'm going to show up. I'm not sitting in no parking lot. I'm going to be right there in that room with my child. Now, you can pout. You can roll your eyes. You can do whatever you want to do. But nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to tell me what I can and cannot do when it come down to my child. And that's just it. You understand what I'm saying? It's just it. I ain't sitting in no parking lot. See, I birthed that child. You birthed that child. You did. You're not his child, you're his wife. And if his ignorant behind did not have what it takes to step into the plate and be what he needed to be, then he should have stayed at home and just put you in a cab and sent you to the hospital. Because he didn't serve no purpose, no way whatsoever. He didn't. He didn't. No compassion, no empathy, no care whatsoever. And that right there speaks volume to me. It speaks volume to me. It does. So I'm not calling and asking you anything. If my child calls me on the phone and say I'm going into labor, and then you tell me I don't want to buy, I don't care what you say. I'm showing up. You can like it, you don't have to like it. Tell me what you got to tell me to my face. You ain't got to tell my child, tell it to me. Hey, Mary Belafonte, how are you? Tell it to me, because I got a response for you. But you're never going to tell me what I can and cannot do when it comes down to my child. See, there's just certain lines that we don't allow nobody to cross. We just don't. Okay, go on, Dana.
So my mom comes up and she sees me, she sees the baby. She congratulates us, and then she leaves. She didn't stay a long time. She left. But she had told me that if I needed her, she would be there. But I never did call
Because he said no.
her. I knew how he felt, so I didn't call her.
Okay.
And when we got home, he meant exactly what he said. We were doing this again.
Y'all had sex?
We had I had my baby on a Sunday. That Saturday we had sex. It wasn't 7 days.
Was that painful, Dana?
Yes.
Child. And he didn't care, neither did he.
And I kid you not, I think we had sex at least once every week, whether I wanted to or not. And the last fight we had was over sex and my child.
Mm-hmm. And so what happened with that situation?
She was waking up, she was crying, and he wanted to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to get her.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I would get up to try to go get her because she's crying, she's woke, he was punching me in my face, knocking me back down on the bed. And the last time he told me that if I got her again, he was going to break my face. So I didn't move.
Mm-hmm. So then he left.
When he got up, when he finished, he said, "Now you can get her."
So he didn't care nothing about his baby crying.
No. Once he got finished, he got up and said, "Now you can get her." And when I was laying, I could feel my eyes swelling up. And by the time I got up, my eye was like almost closed shut.
Mm-hmm. So what happened that night after that incident?
I got my baby. I took care of her. And I felt myself in depressed mode. And I said, let me get on TikTok. I
Mm-hmm.
need something to make me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And I got on TikTok and I was scrolling and I ran across your live
Mm-hmm.
and I stopped there and I, in the middle of you talking, I asked you to pray for my marriage. I didn't say
Mm-hmm.
what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I just said, can you pray for me and my husband? Can you pray for my marriage?
Mm-hmm.
And you said, okay. And I just kept hearing, say it, say it. And I said what it was that I needed you to pray for. And you said, oh, I'm going to pray that you have the spirit of walking away. And you asked me, did I have any family? And I knew I had a mom and a daddy, a brother and sister.
Mm-hmm.
And you said to call your parents and get out of that. And if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your baby.
Mm-hmm. So you call your parents.
And I called my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I had always told my husband that if I ever got tired, if I ever left, I wasn't coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that if I left, I wasn't coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And I left that night, never to go back. And I'm so glad he wasn't home when my parents showed up because my daddy was determined to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how much I screamed and said, Daddy, he not here. He was kicking every door open that was closed.
Mm-hmm. What did your mama say?
She said she felt like something wasn't right
Mm-hmm.
because she had the worst headache that night. And she had took some Tylenol and laid down. And she said she felt like something wasn't right. And she said she prayed because she said she prayed for her kids every night. And she said she always believed, even though I never said nothing. And like she said, she listened to what I didn't say.
Mm-hmm.
She listened to what wasn't being done
Mm-hmm.
because around them we had, a good marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And like she said, you told me about the trips and you told me all these good things he was doing for you and to you. And but I heard you, but I was listening and hearing what you wasn't saying
Mm-hmm.
because you can only put and I didn't know this, and like she said, you would know once your baby get of age, you look at
Yeah.
a person's face when they
Well,
talking to you.
instincts. Mm-hmm.
And if
Mm-hmm.
this person is telling you all these wonderful things but there's no smile behind it,
Mm-hmm.
there's no, love in that person's eyes, you hearing what's not being said.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me she went back to the when my grandmother fell and she wanted me to stay with my grandmother. She said I knew something wasn't right because that wasn't how I raised y'all. And when you said no, I can't go, I knew something was wrong. Because my sister had told me, don't come back, And she was so mad at me. And my mama was like, don't ever tell my baby she can't come home. Don't come
Mm-hmm.
back. Like she
Mm,
said, I heard what you didn't say.
mm-hmm.
And like she said, she kept praying. And that night that I called, she had the, like she said, she had the worst headache. And she said, you fell on my mind. And I said, Lord, please watch over my baby. Please take care of my kids, because she counted Jakaya as hers. Like she said, she belonged to you. She belonged to me.
Mm-hmm.
And she said she prayed that night. So when I called and I told her what was going on, she jumped up out the bed and told my daddy, let's go. We're going to get her. She didn't tell him nothing until they got in the car.
Mm-hmm.
She said, your daddy turned right back around and we got his gun.
Mm-hmm.
And they grabbed, my stuff, and they grabbed her because I couldn't see because my left eye was completely shut.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to my parents' house that night. But when I got there, I didn't realize it that night. But the next day, I
Thank you,
saw
Keith.
how broken I really was. I couldn't even come out my room. Not that I felt uncomfortable there. It was like I was so ashamed and so depressed that I wouldn't eat until everybody went to bed. I wouldn't come out my room until either my parents were gone or they was gone to bed for the night. And a year later, and I still feel the same way.
But you're not where you started from. And let me tell y'all this. The night that Dana got on my live, I told Dana this too. I talked about this Sunday at church. I said, struggle that Sunday. And the spirit kept telling me to get on live, and I kept telling God, no, I ain't getting on live. I'm tired. I done worked all night long, and I want to go home and go to bed. I'm tired. Spirit said, get on live. I said, no, get on live. Tired. I'm going to sleep. So they gonna have me up all night. I already worked all night. Spirit said again, third time, get on. I said no. Now I'm being honest, and I'm always gonna be honest and transparent. I said no. All the way till I got home. When I parked my car, I said, let me go ahead and get on this live because you ain't gonna let me rest until I get on this live. And when I tell y'all I was tired, I was tired. I had got off almost 5 o'clock that morning. I got a couple of hours of sleep. I got back up to get myself ready to drive all the way to the city to go to church, right? I got about 3 hours worth of sleep all night long, about 3 hours. I get up, I go to church, service is good. I get out of church, I go to my friend's house, and I sit over there until traffic died down, which is about 11 o'clock. I get in my car and I'm on my way home. And that's when God started talking. But I told my best friend, I said, look, I'm so sleepy, I can fall over. I said, I'm finna go home and get up under the bed. And as I was driving, the Lord was talking to me, you need to get on. And we were tug of war. I'm being honest. I'm never gonna lie. I'm gonna always tell the truth. I told God, no, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm gonna be on there all night. I don't want to get on. And so when I got to the house and I pulled up, it was about 9:45 when I actually got on live. I got on live that night about 9:45. I kid you not. And I don't think how long was it after Dana before you clicked in?
It was after 10 o'clock. It was a little bit after 10.
Mm-hmm. And I don't remember the topic that night. I don't even remember the topic.
I don't need to. Because
But
I don't even think I was even focused on the topic, but I know you was talking about God.
Mm-hmm.
And I had listened for just a little bit, and then I asked you to pray for my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
then I told you what it was.
what did your mama tell you later on about this situation, about her conversation with God?
She said she had been praying to God because she knew that something wasn't right. And she said, I kept reminding God of what I was doing for other people's children. Anybody's kid that needed me, I was there, whether it was a meal, whether it was, I see young people in the store and they didn't have enough money, I help. And she said, and I asked God to remember. And if my kids ever found themselves in a situation that somebody would return the same favor and take care of my child or my kids until I get there. And she always say that you was God sent, that God answered her prayer through you. She said, and that was nothing but a mother. Because she's always say, when I told her how I met you and even the conversations that we still have today, that she said a real mother knows that everybody kids is her kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I told you what when we first started talking.
That you would always walk with me.
Have I stayed true to my word?
Yes, ma'am.
But I also told you something else. What did I tell you?
That you was gonna always be real. You're gonna always be truthful.
And it hasn't always been easy because I've been rough, ain't I, Dana?
Yes.
I know. Yeah, let me tell y'all this. And my best friend, she's listening tonight too. Let me tell y'all something. If you don't want to know my opinion about something, don't ask me. I tell anybody that you don't want to know my opinion about something, don't ask me. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to divert around. I'm going straight through. I do you and myself a disservice when I'm not honest with you, right? I'm not helping you when I'm not honest with you. And there have been plenty of times that I have told Dana some things about her whole situation. I told Dana that that man baited and groomed her. I told her this. That's what he did. He set out to bait and groom her. But Dana's philosophy was that she thought she knew it all. And let's be honest, some of us young people, we get to a certain age, we start smelling ourselves and we think we know everything, and we really don't. Even some of us adults are still learning some things. Every day, all of us can learn something. But let me tell you, in your choices, you need to choose wisely. And the first thing you need to do is ask God, is this him? Is this her? We leave God out the equation too much when he's the most important factor in the equation, right? And if we would put God first in everything we do and everything we think about doing, a lot of the things that we fell into, we could avoid it. But sometimes even when God tells us no, we push for the yes. And then when you push for the yes, because God give you free will and free choice, he'll say, okay, you go on and you do you, right? And then when you go on and you do you, and later on down the line, you find out that that person was not the person that God had for you, right? Now you're mad with God. You want to blame him, but it ain't God's fault. It's yours because he told you no. All the signs, all the little the warnings was there, all the little flashing lights was there, but our eyes are so glassy. They do so much for me. They buy me this, and that's materialistic things. When somebody truly, authentically love you, it's not just a word. We need to know that love is a feeling. You can feel authentic love without somebody parting their lip and telling you that they love you. This is why it's so important for you to validate your young girls at home, to show them that they are valuable, they have worth. All that you need to validate them at home and not wait for somebody else to validate them. Daddies, talk to your daughters. Mamas, give them guidance and direction. You are steward over your children. And that's what you need to be, steward over your children. Don't leave them out there. You need to pray for them, coming from the crown of their head to the sole of their feet. See, prayer that Dana's mom did was the pathway to getting her out. God knows what you need at the time that you need it before you even know you gonna need it. Hear me what I'm saying. And we need to understand that without any thought process. So whatever ladies out here that's taking care of somebody who don't want to work, whatever person out there that think that you have the skill set and your vagina is like a trophy on the shelf that you can change them and make them better, you ain't that good and you ain't that great. Understand what I'm saying? Do not allow mistreatment of you being the thing that makes you keep somebody and think you can make them better or you can change them. That's not how that works. It's not. They're not going to change for you. They need to change for themselves. And most of the time, especially in Dana's husband situation, a lot of his messiness came from his daddy. There is always a backstory. It came from somewhere. Nobody just wake up and say, oh, I want to be this person today. That's not how that works. It's not how that works. It's not how it works. There is something that's in your past that triggers your present that makes your future horrible. You hear what I'm saying? But we have to learn how to choose wisely. Not thinking because of materialistic thing, because that can come and it can go. Not thinking about because this sex is so great, that's only a few seconds or a few minutes and that's done and that's gone. What do you got when you put the sex on the shelf and you put the materialistic stuff on the shelf? What do you got beyond that? What do you have beyond that? What? It's the question that you need to make sure you do your due diligence to ask yourself because it's important to question. Are you strong as you think you are? Do you have the confidence and the self-esteem that you should have within yourself? That's the question you should ask yourself. So, Dana, I got a question for you. With everything that you have been through and everything that you have endured and everything that you have came through, what would you tell somebody that will step into your shoes?
The first sight, the first notion that something ain't right, meaning for me, it wasn't the first disrespect because the disrespect words did not come until he had hit me the first time. So I would say for me, looking back on what I went through and to the next female, the first time he hit you, whether it's a push, whether it's a hit, whether it's a slap, whether it's a nudge, to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because I look at how many times he did hit me before he actually started beating me. And I'm sorry was just words.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I did know, I just chose to stay and look past it. But my parents told us that it's not what a person says, it's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But I held on to the hope that the man that I met was going to one day show back up.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. I didn't look at me being 16, him being 34. I didn't look at he was, grooming me or playing games with me. I didn't look at that. I looked at this man really loved me. But To me, the first time a man, a woman hit you, it's time to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And I say this, and now because I'm out of it, I never go through it again because I feel like this, to be honest. I can't stop you from hitting me the first time, but I can control you hitting me the second time, and that's not going to happen
Mm-hmm.
because you can't control what a person does
Mm-hmm.
the first time. But my answer is if they hit you once and you stay, it's going to keep happening.
Mm-hmm. So in a relationship, what do you lose?
Ma'am,
What do you lose in a relationship? What did you realize you lost
hold
in
on one
those?
second. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
We got to understand we sacrifice so much in relationships when we don't pay attention to all the warning signs and we justify the behavior. We got to understand that you can't justify people's behavior. You can't sweep that type of action from the rug and think it's okay. That's not how that goes. It doesn't. And again, it does not exemplify love. That is not love. That ain't even a strong like. Hear me what I'm saying. That's not a strong like at all. It's not a strong like. And so if you don't step and validate yourself and step and validate yourself is pouring into you, telling you that you're strong, telling you you're confident, telling you you have self-esteem, telling you that you have value and worth and integrity. You have to tell yourself these things. Don't wait for nobody else to tell it to you. Into yourself. Pour into yourself. And if you ain't had no parents to pour into you, then find you somebody that can give you what you need at the time that you need it. That's going to be beneficial for you. That's going to put a deposit in you and not withdraw from you. See, we go to the wrong people for things that they're not equipped to give us because they ain't got it themselves. An empty pot can't fill another empty pot. An empty glass can't fill another empty glass. An empty person can't fill another empty person if they're empty. How they gonna feel you when they empty too? Make it make sense. How they gonna advise you about relationship when they've been bruised and battered all their life? That's all they know. So how they gonna tell you? And again, I'm gonna go back. Stop telling these girls, well, just stay with him. You
Okay,
know,
I'm
you
back.
can't do no better. Just stay. That's not how that works. Go ahead. So what are some things that you can tell anybody who is experiencing or may be headed that way about their value, their worth, their self-esteem, and their confidence, how to maintain it, how to keep it? You there, Dana? We got to know our value. We got to know our worth. We got to. It's so important. We got to know our value and we got to know our worth. We got to. It's so important. It is so important. We give up too much stuff to other people that don't even deserve to have it. They don't. They don't even deserve to have it. Not even a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or a good night. We give up too much stuff to other people that don't deserve it. We don't ask nobody or require nobody to work for anything. We don't come to the table with expectations. We don't come to the table with boundaries, what we will and will not accept. We're just okay. And what's wrong with the world today? What's wrong with relationship? We feed off reality TV shows, right? That's a TV show. It's not real life. You can't take your relationship and compare it to somebody's relationship because, first of all, y'all two different people and they're two different people too, right? But if you don't have no expectations going into relationship, guess what? You're going to end it with what you get. And that's just what it is. You need to know who you are and whose you are. And don't you ever let nobody shape that. That's so important for you. That's important for you. Simple as that. Dana's story is not new, right? There are other women out here that experience Dana's story. The good thing about Dana's story is she's still here. She's still here. Some other women and some other men have lost their life. Let me tell you something. Love me enough to leave me. Love me enough to walk away. You didn't give life to me and you have no authority to take it. You don't own me. I'm not a piece of property. I'm not lying. I wasn't signed off to you and do as you please. That's not how that works. You get paperwork for a house. You get paperwork for a car. You get paperwork to go to school, but you don't get paperwork for an adult. You don't. Your requirement, your rules and regulations. I'm not your kid. I'm an adult. There are grounds, there are places, there are boundaries that you ain't finna cross. Not over here with me. So we need to set up some boundaries for ourselves, and we need to stick to those boundaries and not let nobody uh cross them, and we be okay with them crossing them. Stick to your boundaries. Stop jumping into relationships until you get to know the person for real. And then the biggest thing is 16 and 34. He was already way beyond her years. He had already had a couple of relationships and got out of a couple of relationships. So he's a little weakling. So he needed somebody that he can pull like a puppet on the string. And that's exactly what he did. That's what these men do when they get these 16-year-olds. They want to groom them. But then at the same time, they mess them up. They mess them up totally. They mess up their character, they mess up their self-esteem, and they mess up their confidence. They throw that individual in the toilet and they treat them like trash. We need to understand the real meaning of love, and that meaning is very deep. Hear me when I say it's very deep. So I hope this conversation has resonated. I hope it has made an impact, some shape, form, or fashion. And I hope that going forward for relationships, that we really think about some relationship, and we really need to go start talking to our daughters and our sons, and not just talking to them, but live the life before them that they need to see. Give them the love that they need to get so they won't have to go looking for love in all the wrong places and from all the wrong people. That's so important. Stamp and validate your children at home. Let them know the reasons why you don't want them messing around with certain people. Now we understand that children are going to be children when they get to a certain age. They're going to do things that you may not never know, but you got to create an environment that whatever they do, they can come back to you and talk to you about it. You understand what I'm saying? Blessings to Dana. You are in my prayers for understanding and strength. Yep. It is rough out here, but it's real. And we're going to start having a lot more of these real conversations because they need it. This ain't something you finna see on no TV. This ain't something you finna see nobody talking about too much because it's a conversation that is not talked about, but it happened quite often. And more facilities need to go up to help these women and men who deal with situations like that. Because let me tell you something. The person who's enduring the abuse is affected, but the children who watch it is just as affected as the adult who's enduring it, right? So it traumatizes on both parties. And the kids don't have an outlet to tell to nobody. Yes, we give therapy to the battered woman or the battered man, but what about the children who watches the abuse? We all have a testimony. We all have a testimony of something. We all do. And what we need to understand, that may be Dana's story, but somebody else got another story. You understand what I'm saying? So again, it goes back. We have no room and no right to point our fingers at nobody. We have no room and no right. Because your stuff is still in the closet, locked with a padlock, don't mean that that story ain't gonna never get out and somebody ain't gonna never know. They just don't know it today. You understand what I'm saying? So we try to hide ourselves and pretend to be this person who's never been through nothing, never endured nothing, never experienced nothing, but you ain't gonna tell it. And the thing that you hold on to is affecting your life every second, minute, hour, day, month, week, and year. Your attitude, your temperament, how you look at things, how you don't trust, is affecting you. It's affecting you. Whether you want to admit it or not, it's affecting you. Hear me when I say. So I commend Dana for her strength. I commend Dana for speaking her truth. And I pray continuous healing. I pray that she's able to one day look at herself and see herself not as somebody say that she is not, but who she knows she is. And I pray for any woman who is sitting, walking, and laying in this situation right now, who don't see herself for who she is, but what somebody else thinks she is. Only God can judge me. At least He's the only one who counts. Exactly. So let's put up some prayers for people that may not never speak up and suffer in silence. Let's put up some prayers for those who are battered and bruised. They want to get out and they don't know how to get out. Let's put up some prayers that God will cover and keep them and give them the strength to walk away sometime in the near future. We want to save lives. We don't want lives to go away. You do every night. Yeah, me too, Belinda. And then we also need to look at, for those who are blessed to have a good mate, for those who are blessed to have somebody they dating that's really good and authentic and truly loves them, you need to tell the Lord thank you. And don't think because it ain't your story that it can't be, because it can. All it takes is one situation and that person can flip before you know it. So keep yourself prayed up. Keep yourself alert, be aware, stop walking around with blinders on. Pay attention to the signs that God gives you and the things that He show you. It is so important. All right. I love y'all. I thank y'all for joining in these couple of nights. I'm gonna try to bring you. It could happen to any of us. It could. It could happen to any of us at any time. And except we be kept by Jesus, honey, it's all about the grace of God. You hear what I'm saying? He's the best keeper in the world. He know what to send you when you need it at the time that you need it. So we need to continually keep those things in mind. All right. So y'all listen. Dana dropped off. She was at the hospital with a family member. So I thank y'all for chiming in. I'm gonna try to get some more things like this or stories that we can talk about that's not talked about. Y'all can let me know in my inbox or send me an email to awomanthought@gmail.com. Conversation you would like for us to talk about that we really don't talk about, that you feel is needed, that you feel is important to have a discussion. And one day last week, we had a bunch of individuals that jumped into the live and have conversations. So maybe next Sunday, we'll have some of y'all jump into live and let's dialogue. But let's be honest, let's be upfront, and we're not judging anybody because everybody have a perception. Everybody see things differently from the way you see them. Don't mean that that person is wrong. Understand what I'm saying? But we got to learn how to talk about something. We got to learn how to be honest about a lot of things, because a lot of times we're not as honest as we could be. And that's where our downfall at. Stop comparing your relationship to somebody else, because you are not them and they are not you. Be the best version of yourself you can be for you and not nobody else. That's the most important lesson we can get. I'm praying for any woman that's in an abusive relationship. I'm praying for any man that's in an abusive relationship. And I'm praying that God would change the heart of the abuser. That's what I'm praying for. And I want all of us to pray for the same thing. And I pray for the children who experience these situations, because they are very disheartening and they leave a long lasting effect. It affects trust and everything else in the person who watches, and in the person who's dealing with it. It's traumatizing to them. They lose so much, their value, their worth, their confidence, their self-esteem, and most importantly, their voice. And sometimes the pressures of abuse can, where the abuser don't unalive them, they can't handle it and they unalive themselves. The guilt and the blame is real. It's so real. Depression is real. It's real. So the next time, before you decide to make a comment on somebody's actions or how they react or how they face look, you look to yourself and say, you don't know their story. And you really don't. You have no idea about their story. So let's show a little more empathy. Let's show a little more compassion for one another. It is needed. And if ever a time that we need to pray, that time is now. You need to pray for your husbands, your sons, your daughters, your grandmothers, your grandfathers, your aunties and uncles. You're protecting your house. We need to pray. And that's the one thing we have gotten away from is prayer. Hear what I say. Hear what I say. And we need to get back to it. You should not be in a position where you're forced to get on your knees. Do it while everything is going good. But let me tell y'all something. The end of this year, you better get all that you got to get done by December 31st. Because January 2025, a lot of people are going to be in for a rude awakening. And that's just as real as it can get. So anyway, y'all, I love y'all. I thank y'all for tuning and chiming in. Share To a Woman's Heart platform. We're going to need some things coming forward. Your children are going to need some things coming forward. A lot of worry, a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of frustration, a lot of desperation is coming. And when people get desperate, they do all manner of things. But you got to remember one thing. God is still in charge. Hear me when I say. And if you can't depend on nobody else, you got Jesus. You got Jesus. And when everybody else will walk away from you, you got the Lord. And you need to know that. All right? All right, y'all. I thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate you. And I think that's Breaking the Silence Part 2. I think that's going to be a wrap. All right. I appreciate you all for tuning in, and I hope you got the message. I hope you share. The lives will still be up. If you can't get it on TikTok, you can go to YouTube and you can watch it. You can forward it to anybody via To a Woman's Heart. Both of the lives will be on YouTube. So you can go over there, get everything that we talked about tonight and forward it to your friends or somebody you think that may need this conversation. All right. If nobody told y'all today how much they love you, let me tell you that I love you to infinity and beyond. If it wasn't for you, there would be no me. And I appreciate everything you do. I appreciate your heart. I appreciate your likes. I appreciate your follows. And I definitely appreciate your shares. You are the best. And I want to trade y'all in for the world. And I hope you have an amazing Wednesday on tomorrow. Good night, everybody. I love y'all. Let me end this one.